I paid money and drove 2 hours to go bounce around in giant bouncy castles in the middle of a field for you guys. That's it. That's my intro. Hey, I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about the Big Bounce Party. What is it called? God. The Big Bounce America adults-only sessions that I drove to Jurupa Valley for. I think I'm saying that right. I think it was right after the Willy Wonka Glasgow experience where I saw this video on TikTok that said, I do not believe this is true. Until someone goes, I don't trust these things. No way you have the biggest bounce house in America or something like that. And then I've heard nothing of it since, okay? But I immediately went and bought a ticket. So back in September is when I bought my the Big Bounce America adult session. The reason I did the adult session as opposed to one of the other sessions is purely because I wanted to film and I didn't feel comfortable filming around a bunch of children. Like, that's truly what it was. Your 3-hour session begins at 6 p.m. and ends at 9 p.m. Your timed bounce slot starts at 6:10. This was $38.15 online, and it was in Centennial Park in Jurupa Valley. It was going to be October 11th, originally I was going to go to this thing, and I was like, perfect, I'll go. It was like one of the early starts of the session. But really quick, let me tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Aura. In 2024, there has been a high number of high-profile data breaches. Dell suffered a breach that exposed 3.9 million customer records. United Health confirmed 100 million users had their data stolen. And Ticketmaster experienced a massive breach of 560 million customer records. And that's not even covering the national public data that mentioned that every American could be affected by the fact that their social security number could have been leaked. And data brokers could possibly be profiting from this personal information right now. And that's one of the ways that Aura can step in to help. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, and alerts you if anything ends up on the dark web or public court records to alert you to potential identity theft or if anyone is profiting from selling your information online. They also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance in case the worst happens. They also have a variety of other features to keep you safe online, including real-time alerts for data breaches, VPN for secure browsing, data broker opt-out, password manager, and more. Someone who is very online and also puts a lot of my personal information into ticket sites, I have to make sure I'm keeping myself safe online, and Aura helps me do that. You can get started too by going to aura.com/swell and get started with a 14-day free trial to see if any of your data has been exposed. And thank you again to Aura for sponsoring this video. Then I got an email on the 2nd of October. We regret to inform you that the Big Bounce adults-only sessions ages 16 and older has been rescheduled from October 11th, 6 p.m. to October 25th, 6 p.m. This change is due to adjustments by the event organizer. Thank you for purchasing tickets to the Big Bounce America event in Riverside, California. Due to reason for closure, we had to postpone... You could have filled in the reason. I assume it was like they didn't get clearance or like they were still waiting on a permit or low ticket sales or something. I don't know. But they didn't tell me the reason for closure here. Spoiler alert, nothing actively bad happened at this event, I would say, okay? The one thing that I will say right away, okay? I don't know how old some of these people at this event were. My ID was never checked or anything like that. Like, there was no verification or anything like that. And some of these people did look very young, but also I am realizing the older I get, the more infant-like anyone under the age of like 23 looks to me. These people probably could have all been 16 and 17, and I just see them as a 12-year-old. Some of these kids looked really young, okay, but they were in the adult session, okay, which is again 16 and up. So they were minors, but not children, supposedly. That being said, as far as the boundaries for this event, because what happened is I drove 2 hours. Why did I drive 2 hours? Traffic. LA is having literally every single sporting event known to man this current weekend, including the game at Dodger Stadium. So I was like, this is going to be a goddamn nightmare. Sure enough, it was just bumper to bumper traffic the entire way there. On the way back, it was only 45 minutes, so not bad at all. That's good, but this was a nightmare. I drove out there and parking was, you literally drive around the event down into the basin. I don't like that they didn't tell us that parking was $5 on top of the ticket I paid for. That's just annoying and shitty. I already paying for an event. You know that you're the only event that's happening here. I shouldn't have to pay for parking. That is dumb. That is stupid. I'm gonna say it again. Charging $5 when I'm paying to go to an event and you were the only event in that space, stupid, dumb, annoying, because where else was I gonna park when you were having me walk down into what is basically a basin of a park? I want you to hear me when I say this is stupid. And already as I'm pulling up, I was on the phone with Anarchy at the time. I was like, hang on, I gotta go check this out. Also, I think this is gonna be smaller than I think it is, because based on the amount of cars I was seeing, and I was already late for my session because of traffic, I was like, this should be
busier. This is only like a 3-hour time slot. Like there should be more people here. And she was like, are you going to die? Like, where are you? Are you going to get murdered? And I was like, no, probably not. Like, it's probably fine. And at the very least, I get a video out of it. And I explained like what it was in like adult only session. She's like, Amanda, people are going to have sex in the bouncy castle. I was like, I mean, possibly. Who knows? Like, let's find out. That's why I'm here to find out. So right off the bat, did I see anyone actually fornicating in the bouncy castles? No. Do I think some things were happening? Yes. This place was filthy. I don't know why. I wouldn't do it here, but whatever.
So my time slot is 6:10 and it's 6:22. So I got to go over here and head to this bounce house. This is a lot.
I will say this place does seem like it would be fun, like on a date, but I don't think this is like first date activities. This is like you've been seeing each other for a while, so you kind of know how competitive each other is, especially because one of my favorite bouncy castles within this thing, yes, I had a favorite, was this super long obstacle course. And that would have been really fun to race someone in. I did just go by myself and do it, but I was like, I would smoke someone in this. Or they would kick my ass, who knows? Because it is an insane workout. But yes, that's tangent. So I walk in, get my wristband. I had the 6:10 time slot. It was already like almost 6:30 by the time I got there because of traffic. And they said, okay, you're just going to walk around the space and go straight to the back. And that's the big bouncy castle. So the big draw of this event is the world's largest bouncy castle. Okay. It is one continuous bouncy castle space. I've never been to like a bouncy castle event like this, but like prior to COVID, because did a lot of things before COVID. I used to go to indoor trampoline parks quite a lot with my friends. And so I was like, okay, this is probably somewhat not like that, but like it's same vibes, like no big deal, like should be fine. And also I should know, walking up, they have lockers right when you walk in for like your valuables and things like that, but those are just at the front. I did not check to see if those were a cost. I assume they were. But then you also have a spot where, because you can't wear shoes inside this thing, you wear your socks. And on the email, it did encourage like, oh, maybe bring a spare pair of shoes or like something in case the weather changes or whatever.
Sign says shoe storage that way, but the shoe storage is here. And then I have to walk back through the grass barefoot to go onto the bouncy castle. So this should be interesting. Okay, I guess I gotta just find a number and hope my shoes are here when I come back, because there's no one monitoring this section.
It's like, listen, I'm not opposed to walking through grass, being one with nature, okay? Walking the witch's road, if you will. But what I don't like is when I can't see what I'm walking on. And there was not nearly enough lighting for me to just be walking in my socks, toesies secure in a thin piece of fabric in a park, when there are clearly holes that are marked and like chunks of cement around and things like that are just there. I don't know. I don't think that's safe. I think at the very least, this is a very easy fix here for the event people. Like literally get some strips of AstroTurf that like makes a trail from like where you drop your shoes to the front of the bouncy castle. That's super easy, especially for this big one. I don't know why we're not doing that. And someone's gonna be like, oh, you're overthinking it. Just like go and have fun and be like a child. Listen, I don't care. I don't want children doing that either. This is dumb. This is so easy to fix. So I put my shoes there, make the very gentle trek back up, okay, and go through the bouncy castle. Already I'm like, are there people here who weren't supposed to be here before? You know, like are there people who were here from the last session? Because this is where I was like, there's definitely people that I think are under 16 here. And again, I could be wrong. It literally could just be everyone under the age of 22 looks like a toddler to me, okay? And so I was like, maybe they're adults, 16-ish, okay, whatever. And they look like a child to me, and that's why I don't think they're 16 or something like that. In the center of this one is a DJ just blasting music. What concerned me was that aside from at certain parts of the exits, there's no one like working the event that's like inside this space. I think I saw one guy with a crew shirt on at one point, and it was because he came to get like a backpack that he had stuffed in the DJ booth, and then he went out the back. And then other people that I saw that were working there were people that were at the exits or entrances to like keep an eye on people. But it's like, they didn't check my bag or anything. If I wanted to cause a problem, if I wanted to decimate the largest bouncy castle in the world, I could do that. And it would take you a minute to come and get me. What if I just like pulled out a pocket knife and I just I could be bouncing from here to Timbuktu. I could be out the door. You wouldn't know. I could just go boop. And there were certain sections where there was plenty of blind spots because they have those giant like climbable things and things like that. I could have done several pieces of damage and then dipped. You wouldn't have known. I would have been like a ghost.
There is now foam. I swallowed it. Oh God. Oh God.
Oh God. Just sucked in a ball of foam. There was a few sections where I would like bounce around and go into a room and it's like, oh, there's a couple in here. I need to go. Because it was just awkward. And that's kind of the problem with being solo woman. Just bouncing around. It's like, I'm cramping someone's style. This is weird. And then there was one instance where I went into a room with a ball pit and there was someone in the ball pit just like kind of laying down. And I was like, and then I realized there was a man with her too. And I was like, I'm not saying you're doing stuff, but I think you're doing stuff. Someone's gonna be like, Amanda's being a prude. She doesn't want people fucking in the bouncy castle. Not when you know that the 18 and up section, it's not 18 and up, it's 16 and up. And also, these things were filthy. You really want to go and fool around on the bouncy castle where a toddler probably threw up at the same spot earlier that day. Anyways, I did like a few bounce arounds trying to find like crew members just to like make sure I wasn't misclocking someone. And then I left, I put my shoes back on, I went and ate something. I got like this like giant long like waffle on a stick thing that I thought was gonna be like Dongo size. It was huge. It was good. Bad idea to eat that and then go bounce around. I think I did the giant next, which was the obstacle course one. This one was cool, very long, very draining. This thing is intense, okay? And so what was good about this one is that there were sections where it's like if you didn't want to keep climbing up to go down the slides and things like that, there were tunnels that you can go through, and they have multiple exits throughout the thing. So you could go through like, I think it was like, there was 4 sections and like 4 different exits at certain points. The one thing about this is that there were spots where it was super dark because there was not nearly enough lighting for this event. So some of the clips that you'll see, it's either pitch black or I have to use my phone light to be able to see, because I'm also just like, I don't like this. This is scary. Also, knowing if I scream right now, who can come and get me? Like, what happens, okay?
The trick, start getting tired, is just picture these things as zombies trying to eat you. Boom. I think the helium might be getting to me. Is there helium in these things?
There was the big slide one. That one was fun. That's the only injury I got. Let me see, is it on here? Yeah, I got the only injury I got. You can't even see it. It's just like a little bit of, didn't bleed or anything. It just looks like I got a, like, curling iron burn or something. It's super mild. Then there was a couple of bouncy castles where it was like, because everything else, aside from that time slot, I had like a 45-minute time slot in the big one, but like that didn't really matter. I didn't need it. And then every other thing else, I could go in at any point and do multiple times. There was the sport one that was like more like climbing things and things like that. I climbed a thing there. Then there was the foam one where they warned that there was foam in that one. I was the only one in there for a good chunk of time in that one. And I was like, this is such a good horror movie premise. Like just like a horror short. Like you're just like, surprise, you can't find the exit now. You know, like there's something there.
It just kind of looks like he's praying to the foam goblin.
There was the space one that was like a bunch of ball pits and things like that. And again, after that first one, I was like, I don't trust these ball pits. I really don't, but I've never really trusted much of a ball pit. In theory, I would love a ball pit. That sounds like such like a nice, like floating, relaxing time, pelting your friends with, you know, plastic balls, okay? But in practice, they do skeeve me out. They do gross me out. Good amount of seating space and coverage that was, you know, covered by blow-up spaces. I do think that's good for during the day and things like that. There is not much lighting at all. If you're going to do a night session, you should be also prioritizing lighting, you know? Like if you're going to be regularly selling a night session. The food options, there were quite a few food trucks. Like I said, I got the waffle thing, but they did have like burgers, tacos, things like that. I got Dippin' Dots at one point because I was pretty much done within an hour. I was like, I'm over this. But I decided I was going to wait a little longer to see if more people came in to like give them the benefit of the doubt of like, okay, maybe this is like one of those things where it's like everyone comes in later. But then I remembered the session ends at 9 and I was like, it's already 8:10. Do I want to wait longer and see if people come in for the last 45 minutes? Not really. So I decided to leave. What was fun was seeing the whole families that came in. There were a handful, I would say, of whole families that clearly came in like in workout clothes, and it's like, oh yes, this is the family workout for the night. That's kind of fun because like I said, this is quite a workout. Like I was sweating. Do I think this is a scam? No. It's not a scam. Do I think this is mid? Yes, it's fun for like 20 minutes. This was, again, like I said, probably certain elements of this would be fun for like a date night or things like that. But like little itty bitty bits of it, I was like, this is silly. This could be better, you know, especially because like there is just like open field space and things like that. I don't know if there's anything more that comes during the day, like if they have any other food trucks or anything else that like pops up there. But that would be something, I don't know, to fill in the gaps of space. Like, I don't know, do a little craft fair or something in the middle of there, something funsy. I do think AstroTurf carpet something, anything from where the shoe drops are to like where the thing is, because especially certain, so there's like two shoe drop sections and then everything else is kind of like on its own. So some people would just like leave their stuff outside of the entrances to the bouncy castles and things like that. And again, they have like the mats to like step down onto once you're jumping down from the actual bouncy castle themselves. But like, I don't think like getting some carpet or AstroTurf and like laying those, I don't think that would be much more of a cost or like much more of a setup issue. So I don't know, something to think about possibly. Food options, fine. I think so. You know, they did have a water station where water was free, but then they also had a water station next to one of the bouncy castles that was $2 a bottle, which I thought was weird because it was like water station. And then you have a water station that's free. So I was like, why not just have another water station over there that is also free, but whatever. They had medical on site and things like that. They had the lockers. Like I said, they sold some merch. They did sell socks if you forgot socks. Definitely wear socks to this. It's fun. I would go with like a fun little group or again, like a date that you know how competitive you both are, because I do think that this could be a problem. As far as security goes for the event, they did have security guards around. There was like 2 or 3 that I clocked. And then you come in through the gate and you get a wristband and things like that. They scan your ticket. However, the bathroom situation is porta potties and some gallons of hand sanitizer. Fine. It's an outdoor event. I don't expect much else. However, there was a lot of gaps and it's dark. So the amount of people that I just saw come in from outside of coming around the porta potty situation, at least 5, just saying. When it's dark, you can't see much. At the very least, you need more light for security purposes, you know, so you don't just have people coming in and bouncing and things like that. Now, because of the wristbands to actually get onto a bouncy castle, you kind of need to like have that viewable, but no one asked to see it. And I was wearing a sweater. I could have multiple times I had the thing down and no one stopped me because I just looked like I was going in. Probably because I'm also clearly an adult. So I don't know if that helped things, but something to consider. And there would be times where I could tell the security guard like clocked that someone had wandered in, but like I don't think he was like allowed to say something, or he was like, I shouldn't say something. I don't know. But there was time where I could see when a security guard that was like low-key studying a group of teenagers, and like 1 or 2 of them kind of like wandered in. And like, I don't think he ever confronted them that I could see. And then I left around 8 something, you know, I headed out. I was like, I'm done. And then I thought I may have had a 2-hour drive home. Luckily, it was just 45 minutes, so not nearly as bad. Okay, but still. I hiked for you guys. All right. This was a fever event. Okay. Fever events. I do quite a few fever events. I've done quite a few before. They're usually pretty good about rescheduling and things like that. But you know, it is what it is due to reason for closure. I'm sorry. That's still so funny to me that they did that way. But yeah, Fever. I've done quite a few events via Fever. I do think they are a fairly good platform for events. The price, it's fine. $38.15. For a 3-hour session, adults only, fine. I think that might be the standard. I do believe there's a smaller, younger ticket spot that's for like toddlers and stuff. And there is toddler only times if you want to bring your kids to these things where it's like toddlers only in certain bouncy castles and things like that for certain times, which I do think it's good. Would I do this again? Probably not. I think I'm good. Just because I was like, these things were gross. This photo they have of the Big Bounce America, this thing is pristine and spotless. And then it's like you're there and it's like, this is gross. Wow. So it's done. So wow. So they really moved the sections that I did to the end of the whole thing. That's interesting. So I guess this event's done, at least for this particular location. I don't know if they're going to be doing more. It does sound like it's a traveling thing, so it might be in other states. I've previously done, you know, like the dinosaur traveling exhibit and things like that I've done. All in all, will I do this again? Probably not. I will go back to an indoor trampoline park because I have not done that since pre-COVID, and I do miss those. Those were fun. Have you ever been in the world's largest bouncy castle? Have you done a fever event? Would you go to a bouncy castle event? Would you fool around in a bouncy castle? I don't know. Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder to use code SWELL for 10% off on Gamer Subs. Shout out to my channel members. If you'd also like to join channel memberships, you can go ahead and click join down below. If you'd like to follow me on social media, that'll be all up here. And that's going to be it. Have a good day. Goodbye. I
also want you to know they played that song from Dasha Austin like a good 80 times, and I was gonna lose my mind.